Lucky characters in fiction are tricky to deal with. You may think you have the advantage, you may think you're stronger or smarter. When the time comes for you to make your winning move, something happens. A twist of fate, a freak accident, a random act of God, or something nonsensical. How can you compete with someone who at any random moment can change the odds of any situation without them having to deliberately do anything? It's like the game is rigged in their favor. You have no idea when the odds will shift to their side. Within fiction, there are countless characters who are either blessed by abnormal luck or use the constant luck as a weapon, whether giving themselves an advantage or weaponizing bad luck to their enemies. In the world, in Danganronpa, talents are taken very seriously in society. It's not like having talents in the real world either. Being talented in Danganronpa is sort of like having powers. A smart kid can build killer robots. An athletic kid can dodge bullets. A chemist can cure cancer. Of course, to foster this talent, Hope's Peak Academy was built in order to help support and improve upon these talents. They look for every type of talent you could possibly think of, and I really mean it. Nagito Komaeda and Makoto Naegi are both known as the ultimate lucky student. Hope's Peak did a random lottery where the winner would be automatically considered the ultimate lucky student, because of course, you need to be lucky in order to win such a lottery. But this isn't some fluke. Nagito and Makoto genuinely have a consistent stream of good and bad luck. Within every day of their lives, a series of events will occur that will benefit them in some way. A plane can crash land in the desert, but Nagito will be the only survivor and be right next to a natural oasis. An execution device will malfunction, causing Makoto to narrowly survive his own death. Luck shouldn't be considered a talent, but with these two, it seems borderline like the world itself is protecting them. The only difference between these two, however, is that Makoto's luck activates at completely random moments. It comes in the form of bad luck, making it hard to predict. What I mean is, he's often put in unfortunate situations, only for that situation to lead to something beneficial in the future. Nagito's luck is passive and always on, making it impossible for him to be in a disadvantageous situation. The thing about his luck as well is that it also passively causes bad luck to those around him. But you know who else is both lucky and talented? Blitz T Abrams, who is widely regarded as the greatest vampire hunter in the world. He's killed so many, in fact, that almost the entire species has placed a curse on him. This curse comes in the form of misfortune that always tries to kill him at any given moment. The misfortune does not care about the lives of innocents, as many perish just from being near him. Abrams, however, will never be harmed by the curse, since he possesses natural good luck, so potent that it cancels out the curse. This makes Abrams the embodiment of misfortune. Wherever he goes, unnaturally exaggerated bad things will follow, but he himself will never be affected by it. But at least Abrams, Nagito, and Makoto are somewhat protected from their forms of luck. Some others don't have that luxury. Murphy's Law is the adage that states that if anything can go wrong, it will in fact go wrong. It's often used to express the idea that if something has the potential to fail or cause problems, it likely will at the most inconvenient of times. Although this is simply a concept, there is a boy out there in a suburban neighborhood who is cursed by the concept of this law. His name is Milo Murphy, and he's quite used to this law by now. Murphy's Law activates basically every day and negatively impacts everyone around him. As you know, anything that can go wrong will, meaning expect the worst things possible to happen to you when you're within his range. However, Milo has experienced a misfortune caused by his powers so much that he has an uncanny intuition and ability to adapt to its chaos. He's incredibly prepared at all times, carrying a backpack that can solve almost any situation caused by his ability. He's also an incredibly quick thinker, helping him adapt no matter how nonsensical or seemingly random the situations Murphy's Law puts him in. misfortune. But Haruta Shigeno never has to think about being prepared or worrying every day about how his ability affects him. Unlike the others mentioned before, he only ever attracts good fortune. His curse technique stores the concept of miracles. A miracle is pretty much any interesting, fun, or coincidental experience you have in your everyday life. For example, finding a quarter on the floor, taking something out of the microwave right before the time runs out, encountering a perfectly symmetrical object. These miracles are then erased from Haruta's memory and stored as a symbol under his eyes. These symbols can then be used up at any point in a battle, which will manifest in a form of luck that will save him from a deadly situation. As long as these markings are present, he can be as reckless in a battle as possible. The thing is that Haruta does not even know that he possesses this ability, so to him, he just has extremely high amounts of luck. However, his luck doesn't necessarily mean that he's immune from damage, shown in his fight with Nanami. The markings just mean they will be protected from dying. It doesn't mean he's immune to damage. These markings are also finite and can run out, and when they do, so does his luck. Pocoloco, on the other hand, does not have to rely on finite markings. No, his ability is somewhat more useful. Just like Blitz T Abrams in Nagito, Pocoloco has an immense amount of luck. However, that luck is also random. That's where his stand, Heiya, comes in. Heiya doesn't have any unique abilities like any other stands. Instead, it sort of acts like an extension of his innate luck. At any given moment, Heiya can give Pocoloco a piece of advice or a hint. If Pocoloco listens to what Heiya tells him, he'll end up in situations where his luck will activate and benefit him in some way. It's almost like the stand has future sight. Even if what they tell him puts him at a disadvantage, it will always lead to the desired outcome. Unlike everyone I brought up until now, the Wonder of You doesn't simply utilize the concept of luck and misfortune. Instead, he's the physical embodiment of it. He is the logic and reason of the world, the cogs that run all of creation itself. Specifically, Wonder of You is a negative embodiment of logic, known as calamity. Logic exists in everything, which means calamity also exists within everything. When one chooses to pursue Toru or the head doctor, calamity will activate and begin attacking you without end. Everything under heaven and earth will no longer be by your side, meaning everything will attack you. It's the ultimate form of misfortune, because the world will twist and bend its own laws to kill you. There's nowhere you can run, no defense you can use. Once calamity is activated, not even your allies or your own abilities will aid you in your battle. The only way to avoid calamity is to completely cease all attempts to get in Toru's way. It's not even possible to fully defeat Wonder of You, as a stand is simply the embodiment of logic, meaning they'll exist forever in the universe, even long after you're dead. But Wonder of You isn't the only character whose nature revolves around the concept of misfortune. In fact, in the world of Undead Unluck, there exists a group of individuals called negators. Think of a concept that's fundamental in our world, like velocity, gravity, weight, and tangibility. Now think about a being who can simply turn off any of these concepts. Once they're turned off, the concepts no longer applies to their body, causing them to be anomalies in the world. Fuko Izumo is one of these negators, and the concept she negates is luck. She's the embodiment of the concept of misfortune, or unluck, as she calls it, and thus can affect the world around her with it. When she touches someone, anyone, and lets go, she can spread her unluck onto them. This negates the luck of the target and causes unfortunate things to happen to them. The scale and severity of the unluck heavily depends on two factors. First, the longer she touches you, the more powerful the unluck will become. For example, touching her for a split second can cause the stools of your chair to fall off, but touching her for 10 seconds may result in a giant piece of rubble crushing you. Second, the amount of care or affection she has for you can also influence the severity. If she barely knows you, the Unluck will be less dangerous overall, but if she has a ton of affection for you to the point where she hugs or kisses you, the Unluck is not only almost immediate, but can be at its most dangerous. However, she doesn't just have to make physical contact. Her Unluck can be imbued into objects as well, becoming especially strong with objects she cherishes. She typically carries a gun whose bullets carry her Unluck. Upon hitting a target, the Unluck will activate several seconds later. However, upon understanding the essence of her soul, which is the source of her power, she's able to fire out pieces of her soul out of her body, which carries the most potent form of her Unluck, creating almost immediate misfortune upon whoever it hits. Fuko, however, isn't the only one with precise control over her luck. Domino from X-Men also has the ability to manipulate the concept. Domino possesses a unique mutation that allows her to subconsciously influence probability in her favor. This ability causes unlikely events to happen within her line of sight, leading to what seems like extraordinary luck for her while misfortune befalls her enemies. This could manifest in various ways, such as an opponent's weapon malfunctioning or accidentally slipping on a banana peel. Her power activates involuntarily in high-pressure situations, such as during combat or when in danger, such as when in combat or when in danger, such as when in combat or when in danger. The effect radiates from her at all times, but requires her to engage in actions that could be risky. It's most potent when she places herself in dangerous situations. For example, a barrage of gunfire would kill her normally, but by moving to evade the shots, she would almost miraculously avoid being hit. Basically, her abilities will magically save her at all times. She actually needs to put herself in situations where it would activate. With a weakness like that, I wouldn't bet on her chances of survival, but I would always bet on Hakari. His domain expansion, Idle Death Gamble, puts him in a slot machine-like environment that solely relies on luck to hit a jackpot. Once the jackpot is hit, he'll receive infinite curse energy for upwards of 4 minutes. This leads to automatic reverse curse technique, where he's effectively immortal for that span of time. No matter what dire situation he finds himself in, and the amount of times he activates his domain, his luck will always come in clutch and result in a jackpot. But Hakari's weakness is that his luck is only exclusive to his domain. He's somewhat vulnerable outside of it. This isn't a problem with the next two figures on this list. D4C Love Train is one such figure. Funny Valentine is surrounded by golden light. When within the light, Valentine is effectively immune from all misfortune. Any attack or harmful phenomena that touches the light will be considered bad fortune. The light will then take this bad fortune and transfer it to someone else at any point in the past or future, resulting in an unfortunate event or calamity to occur. While Valentine is effectively invincible within this light, he has to make sure to stay inside of it, or risk being affected by unfortunate events. The balance works in a sort of similar way. Using this ability, Haschwalt can transfer any misfortune happening around him to those who have good fortune. Basically, when he is damaged in any way by an opponent, this can be considered bad fortune for him, and the opponent experiences good fortune by being able to land the attack. Haschwalt then channels all the misfortune which would befall upon him into his shield, and swaps it with the opponent's good fortune. As a result, any good fortune his enemies gain from wounding him is sent back to them as misfortune, which causes them to get damaged. These aren't the only ways to activate the ability. If Haschwalt attacks an opponent, and that same opponent has a defensive ability, that can be considered good fortune for them and bad fortune for Haschwalt, since he was unable to do any damage. Well, this would activate the balance, transforming the opponent's good fortune into bad fortune, either lowering their defense, causing them to take damage, even with their defensive abilities. With everything out of the way, I just want to make one thing clear. Wonder of You is the strongest luck and misfortune-based character on this list. Wonder of You is literally logic and reason. He's the incarnation of the concept of luck and misfortune, which all these characters rely on to utilize their abilities. To argue that any of their luck-based abilities so that chance is like saying they can drown the ocean in your bathtub. So, I have another idea. If Wonder of You is the strongest, which one of these characters has the highest chance of surviving with their abilities and skill sets? let's briefly go over each.
Oh crap, why you gotta jam?
Nagito and Makoto are killed within the first few seconds. It's been established that their luck gets nullified if they meet someone with even greater luck, one review being the embodiment of logic who would overpower their innate luck. Blitz T Abrams may actually survive Calamity with his natural luck. This is due to his ability to survive the curse, which was conjured by vampires who have the ability to pose a threat to all of humanity and exist in a world where actual gods roam around. I'd say Abrams' luck is potent enough to nullify the Calamity, at least for a while. Milo Murphy has pretty much been dealing with Calamity all his life, in the form of Murphy's Law. He's gained a unique instinct in anticipating it and countering it, with his many tools and quick thinking. Although Calamity is much more dangerous, he'd be much more prepared to deal with unexpected situations Calamity throws at him. Haruta is guaranteed dead. Each Calamity thrown his way would waste each and every stored miracle he has. They're basically a series of lives being instantly used up in a video game. If he doesn't stop pursuing Toru and Wonder Review, he'd eventually run out of miracles. Heiya will likely just tell Pocoloco to not pursue Wonder Review at all, meaning you never get attacked by Calamity to begin with. I'd say Fuko's abilities are second only to Wonder Review in its potency, but I don't see a way she'd ever inflict Unluck upon him. First of all, she'd never be able to make physical contact with Toru, since Calamity would kill her before she gets close. Second of all, if she tried to use her Unluck-infused bullets or her soul bullets, she'd be injured or killed by Calamity before she even aims at him. Domino's probability manipulation requires a bit too many rules for activation. It isn't 100% trustworthy because of it. She'd be one-shot by Calamity before it gets a chance to activate. Hakari will be killed by Calamity before he even gets a chance to do his domain, and even if he pulled it off, Calamity would just cause a jackpot to never occur. D4C Love Train would protect Valentine for as long as he exists within the light, so I'd guess he'd actually be immune to Calamity because of it. But if he were ever to step foot outside the light, he'd probably get immediately attacked. The Balance would have the most interesting interaction with Calamity. Any Calamity that Hushwalt encounters would be converted into bad fortune that's transferred to Toru, but that would also be considered pursuit, and a Calamity would occur to prevent that from happening. I'm actually unsure how these two abilities would interact. The Balance seems to counter Calamity, but it's not something that exists outside the bounds of logic and reason either. My guess is that Hushwalt would just be one-shot by Calamity before the Balance ever activates, but I'll just leave that theory for all the Bleach and Jojo fans out there. So, that's the end of the video. Do you agree or disagree with my conclusions? Who do you think has the most powerful luck-based ability?